tunasema
So the Constitution of Kenya Article 49 and Article 50 of the Constitution guarantees every suspect the presumption of being not guilty until there is enough evidence and after the conclusion of the trial. So Honorable Gachagua currently is presumed to be innocent, and therefore we strongly feel that the bond terms have been granted by the court were too high, and we want to urge the courts going forward to ensure that they adhere to the key tenets of bail's applications, which is only to secure the attendance of an accused person. We want to give an assurance to Hustler Nation and also supporters of Deputy President William Ruto. We shall stand with the Honorable Gachagua. We shall defend his rights in court, and notwithstanding all forms of intimidations, those of us who belong to this current generation, we have a moral duty to continue fighting for justice for those who we believe strongly that they are innocent. I will conclude by saying that for the last 4 days, our colleague Honorable Gachagua has been detained in a police cell. There were other suspects, but it was only Honorable Gachagua who was arrested. And of course, that to me is discriminatory, because if when you look at the charge sheet, you see almost about 10 or 9 other suspects, but it was only Rigade who was arrested and arraigned in court. But notwithstanding that, we give an assurance to supporters of UDA that notwithstanding all these intimidations we are currently undergoing, those of us who are lawyers will strongly continue supporting and standing behind our colleagues who are being taken to court from where we sit in a manner that is contrary to the Constitution and illegal. Thank you.
Okay. Without repeating what Honorable Gachagua has said, the cardinal principle of bail terms is that if an accused person is able to demonstrate to the court that they will attend court as may be ordered by the court, then you can even be released on personal freedom. Jurisdictions that are progressive and respect human rights, like Canada, America, European Union, in fact, allow release of accused persons basically on freedom. And an surety could also be just required to give his workplace and personal details. In Kenya, the Constitution, Article 49, is very clear that the right to bail is the right of an accused person, and therefore, as you grant bail terms, the court must be cautious and careful that it does not fall into the temptation and trap of the prosecution and the executive by granting terms that are not accessible to the accused person, and really the threshold and the test should be if it were an ordinary Kenyan that is brought before the court. Therefore, giving 12 million Kenya shillings, I would say that for a person who is a member of parliament, who has a family, a status in terms of working, and available at the call and beck of the court, really that is unreasonable. However, going forward, Kenyans must be alert that courts should not become the next station where human rights are trampled upon. And I would want to wish Mr. Gachagua all the best. Most of us here are his lawyers on record, and we want to work with the court, but we do not want the court to be a captive or under the capture of the state. And therefore, I think that in future we would expect more reasonable appeal, because you have seen people being held unreasonably long, and even now I believe we would have to find a way of raising that kind of money, because it is not possible to be expected that you will raise 12 million to be able to be released in cash, and even in terms of by way of bond, it's double the amount for that kind of a security. Then, and the figure, the amount that you have been charged with in this particular case and in all other cases, it is targeted to punish. These figures are just being thrown like 7 billion in charge number, count number 5, so that then the accused person is faced with an unreasonable amount for bail. And even the fact that they arrested him on Friday, kept him 3 days in, I think it is all abuse of power and abuse of office.
I think we've seen throughout Honorable Gachagua's arrest, the law has been flaunted. They were in contravention of the Constitution in the manner in which they first arrested him. He was arrested at 3 a.m. on Friday, and this is over at cases that he had recorded statements 2 years ago. So there was no urgency to pick him up on a Friday. Obviously, it was intended to ensure that he's punished by being held over the weekend. So that was one way that the Constitution provisions were contravened. Also, the issue of bail has also become a very bad trend, because there should be no relationship with the figures of which you're alleged to be accused of, with the figure that bond terms is given. Bond is only supposed to secure attendance in court. It's not supposed to be a punishment for an alleged crime, and that is the challenge that we are having now. And we hope that the judiciary stays away and avoids being abused and used by the executive to punish their perceived enemies.
So, much has been said, but then there is a fear that is, and a wind of fear that is moving around this country on being retributive to accused persons before trial. That you want to punish a person, more than he would have even been punished if he's convicted in the charge. Because looking at the entire thing, that a person is being charged of an alleged economic crime, with a defective charge sheet, which you're going to say in other forums. And then you come out and say, you're supposed to pay 12 million as cash. For us, that one is more of a punishment when you combine it also with the 4-day, being held in custody, isolation and being held in custody. But even as we look at that, we call upon the judiciary, more particularly the lower courts. You need to live by the fact that what you do today will also be reflected on you tomorrow. And this we say with a lot of respect. You look at what happened last week on Thursday, Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, where 2 judges were picked up from the office by the DCI, and I want you to imagine if they were, perhaps they could have been brought before you with trumped up just charges without being, given an opportunity to express themselves as they did, being the officers being ransacked and being driven off to the DCI headquarters and perhaps being brought before you, and then you tell them now you are supposed to pay 15 million. We imagine that perhaps the effect of this crime could have you behind bars or pay a certain amount of fine in the near future. So we need to look at this element of bail and bond, and this is so clear what the police have said, that it's actually a right. And this element of hiding, and this we must critique, the element of hiding behind a civil procedure of seeking damages to deny somebody's rights of challenging the police prosecution, where a police officer holds you from Friday to Monday, then before a magistrate, when you're raising the issue of fundamental right being infringed, then the magistrate or the court says you need now to seek damages in the civil rights. I mean, really, who has such time to rest? It's about time that the judiciary lives by the fact that even as you look at the economic element, like you said, the economic element of economic crimes, you also need to check on political persecutions. You don't look at one hand of perhaps public interest and you forget about political persecutions. It is every person here lives in this country, and you know that all these things are trumped out charges of political persecutions targeted at a certain political angle, and the court should live by that fact, because tomorrow Osoro will be accused of having sold this Midamande law courts, which perhaps is the value of about 30 billion, and when you tell me to raise 500 million as cash bail, we are running insane. But trust me, the judiciary should watch on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Having heard from the lawyers, let me say this case actually vindicates what we have all been saying, that the fight against corruption in this country under the regime of President Uhuru Kenyatta will never succeed. The fight against corruption in this country cannot succeed when you use the criminal justice system not to prosecute, but to persecute your perceived political enemies, or those that hold a different political lining from what you hold. And this case actually vindicates that position that we have all held, that we are seeing a series of what are political persecutions, not criminal prosecution of corruption cases. The astronomical figures that you've had in court this morning are nothing other than DCI Kinoti's way of trying to raise bail, high bail terms, as have been said by the lawyers. And I also want to join my colleagues, the lawyers, in asking the courts, just like Honorable Osoro has said, that many people will be presented before courts accused of in one way or the other of having misappropriated astronomical figures, trillions, billions, like you've had in the case of Honorable Gachagua, cases of billions. And with time will vindicate Honorable Gachagua when the prosecution in court starts, and he'll be able to prove that this is nothing other than political persecution. And we want to ask DCI Kinoti, the way you are being used, Kinoti, just as has been said, time is coming, and we pray that the same people using you will drop you, and they will use the same things they are using against you, against others, on you. Therefore, DCI Kinoti should also realize that he has close to 12 months now, and maybe less, to be misused. Beyond that, for them to get away with the crimes that they're persecuting Kenyans with, they will have to get somebody to carry that burden. And DCI Kinoti, I just want to tell you for free, and IG Mutiambai, you will carry the burden of the persecutions that you are persecuting Kenyans, whether it is politicians or any other Kenyans. The same people in that system that you are working for will bring it back to you. And I think those that have served in your offices before, you could take a walk down the path of history and you will see. But let me also say that those of us who support UDA and the Deputy President, we shall not be cowed by political persecution.
Yes.
Yes. Let them just know we are prepared. As you have seen, Honorable Gachagua has been psychologically prepared. He has been waiting for this for the last 2 years. And we know they are preparing all manner of trumped-up charges against many of us. But we are prepared. It is a price that we are willing to pay for, if that is what will secure the economic freedom of our people. Whoever told this regime that anybody in the Mount Kenya region having money in your bank account is a crime, lied to them. They are criminalizing enterprise. And this case, you will see, when all things are brought to court, you will see that what this regime is actually doing is criminalizing enterprise. you will see many of our business people from the Mount Kenya region being taken to court, some with charges of KRA, of the KRA claiming 2.5, 3 billion shillings from an individual. You tell me what amount of business, what level of business would they have done to warrant to pay taxes of 2.5 or 3 billion shillings? And those are the cases we are saying it is political persecution and criminalizing enterprise. And the only reason that this regime is intent on criminalizing enterprise is because there are those who believe that it is only a few people or a few families in this country who should have money and who should hold money. But we want to tell them the Hustler Nation is so determined to ensure that every Kenyan, not in Mount Kenya region, every Kenyan in Kenya has the freedom to hold money and have money in their pockets. And that is what all the Hustler Nation is about. Therefore, let us just tell them, we shall not be intimidated. We shall not. That they can take to the bank. We are ready for their persecution, but time will vindicate each and every one of us.
Nataka niongeze kwa ufupi, niseme ya kwamba today is a very dark day in Kenya because we are seeing the manifestation of the kind of regime that is purporting to lead this country. Na nasema hivyo kwa sababu kesho ama kesho kutwa, any Kenyan this year can throw a figure, an obnoxious figure, aseme umeiba hata barabara ama ya Uhuru Highway ama ya Kenyatta Highway ama ya Moi Airport, kwa sababu vitu zote hapa Kenya ni hizo majina. Na uambiwe hiyo kitu ni ya 20 billion, so that when you come here in courts they try to raise the threshold of the kind of bail that you should pay. And therefore ningetaka niseme ya kwamba hii maneno yote tumekuwa tunaielewa, na hii maneno yote ya Rigathi Gachagua ni kama ile nilikuwa nayo, kama ile Moses Kuria alikuwa nayo, kama ile almost all the members of our team wamekuwa nayo. Ukionekana na deputy president, haraka haraka unaanza kuchuguzwa. Mimi mnakumbuka nilishikwa ati kuna kalamu pengine ya mwanafunzi wa nursery school my desk mate ilikuwa imekosa. Obnoxious things ambayo wanatafutiria vitu huko chini so that they try to diminish our voice. But I have good news to the Hustler Nation. We are sons of Mau Mau, most of us. And we cannot be cowed. We cannot be intimidated by Serelak and sausage kids. Yes. We ate guashe and sweet potatoes, huko Masinani and Mokimo, and we came to Nairobi prepared that we are coming to fight for the future of our country, of our children. Na kwa hivyo ningetaka niseme ya kwamba hii maneno yote ni siasa. Wewe jiulize kitu moja. Nyinyi watu hapa mko hapa, my brothers and sisters from the fourth estate. Tulipata ile kitu ilikuwa inaitwa KEMSA. Watu waliiba dawa, wakaiba masks katika hii maneno ya corona. After the leadership of this country realized that they are keen, that their family members in that list, the 21 days that we are given evaporated in the air. They have never reached. Haijawahi fika siku 21 kwa sababu walijipata wako ndani. Yes. Sasa wameanza ya Rigathi, tunawauliza kwa heshima Kenoti, sasa kesho leta mabilionea wa COVID. Hata wale ambao ni untouchable, hata wale ambao ni family members of the leadership of this country, pia wao waletwe kwa koti. Na mimi nataka ku address our President Uhuru Kenyatta. Watu wa Mount Kenya region walikukosea wapi? Tulikuchagua dhuraku asubuhi to the last man. After you go to that position, the only thing you come unatupea kama watu wa Mount Kenya region ni makasiriko na kusika watu wetu. I want to ask our president, do you want to mean in this country there is no other governor who is a thief? When it comes to governors, only wa Mount Kenya anatuma DCI washike. You want to tell me all the people of Kenya, it is only the business people from Mount Kenya region who don't pay taxes? Tumeona wengi akina yule alipewa 41 billion karaoke. Can you just imagine? Tunasema an individual from Mount Kenya region of course owes the KRA 41 billion. Kwani kazi yake ni ya kuuza nchi? Because you cannot release that kind of money if you petition nations and sell them. Because if you are told you have 41 billion ya kulipa KRA, it means you are the owner of Central Bank of Kenya. This person is from Mount Kenya region. Tabitha Karaja, Mount Kenya region. Mary Mugai, Mount Kenya region. Our president, tunakuuliza kwa heshima. We have supported you in your political journey. Do not torment our sons and our daughters who are doing real business. Na nikimalizia, mutangoja hadi tutatigizika. Sisi watu wa mahasela, sisi mahasela, mulinishika, niko hapa bado nikiongea maneno ya mahasela. Na sitakoma, mumeshika Rigathi. Mungu atamjalia atoke, pia ataongea ya hustlers. Kwa sababu what is within us cannot be removed by the barrel of guns. Mo mutagoja.
There's a legal thing that we had forgotten to say. When we asked the prosecution to give us witness statements and any other material or extra that they wish to rely on the matter, they seemed unready. They actually requested court that they should be given 14 days to prepare it. So all this drama and everything that you see from Friday all through, you can imagine it's been 2 years since he recorded the statement. But even to date, in court, what is needed to be provided for to the defense wasn't given, because they still require 14 days. And I can tell you can even write it. After 14 days, they'll again request for another 21 days or so to provide the witness statement. So all this thing is simply a waste of time and perhaps to humiliate the Gachagua. Yes, sir.
As you can see, we have a series of cameras from here, and we have other videos where we come here. I know it is very, very painful. It is a very difficult moment for us as Malians, but we know the justice is there. So I want to tell you, tuko hapa tunajaribu kuchonga pesa ndio tuhakikishe tunapata hiyo cash bail ya 12 million, ndio Mheshimiwa Rigathi aweze kutoka aendelee kufanya kazi ya kuchunga watu wa Nyeri. Kwa hivyo watu wa Nyeri, asante sana kwa maombi yenu, na tunajua Mungu yuko, hii tutaweza. Asanteni sana.
Na hii koti ni chafu sana, kwa kuna maabusu wanaanza osha huko. Very dirty court. These things. Koti chafu. Koti very chafu hii. Bata unaweza toa tetanus bana. Na ati ni yai koti bana. Chafu hivi.